Ayanokoji Kiyotaka is the definition of a quiet genius. He excels in every aspect: academics, strategy games like chess, and even in areas you wouldn't expect, like physical fitness. But here's the secret to his success. It's not just his talent or the intense training he endured in the White Room that gives him the edge. The true reason Ayanokoji always wins is because he's mastered the art of learning. Before we proceed, show your desire to the universe by liking this video, subscribing, and dropping a comment saying, "I am a genius." I'll personally like your comment to show that you're fully ready to transform yourself. Now, let's get started. In this video, I'm going to break down a 5-step framework inspired by Ayanokoji's learning methods that will transform the way you study. This framework will help you get better results without having to spend countless hours grinding away at textbooks. But before we dive into the 5 steps, let's first talk about some common mistakes that might be holding you back. Common study mistakes to avoid. Do you use the same study methods for all your exams, no matter what the subject is? For example, if you're using flashcards to study history facts, that might work if your test is multiple choice. But what if it's an essay exam? Flashcards won't help you analyze deeper concepts or craft complex arguments. Instead, you should match your study strategy to the type of test you'll face. For a history exam with essay questions, practice writing essays or explaining key events to others, focusing on causes, consequences, and critical analysis. Another mistake? Taking notes in class while your teacher is speaking. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but hear me out. When you're busy writing, you're not fully absorbing the information. Instead, listen carefully during class and take notes afterwards. This approach not only helps you understand the material better, but it also trains your memory. You can always compare your notes with a friend's or use an audio recording of the lecture for reference. Now that we've talked about what not to do, let's move on to the 5 steps that will revolutionize your studying. Step 1. Raise neuroplasticity. Have you ever felt like your brain just can't absorb any more information? That's because neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to learn, isn't fully activated unless you're alert. One simple way to increase alertness and neuroplasticity is through deep breathing. Try this. Take 25 to 30 deep breaths, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. After your last exhale, hold your breath for 15 to 60 seconds. Then take one deep breath in. Hold that breath briefly, then resume normal breathing. This technique increases your alertness and prepares your brain to take in new information. Step 2. Laser-like focus. We all know focus is essential for studying, but how do you get into that zone where nothing can distract you? Here's a quick trick. Pick a spot on the wall or an object in your room and stare at it for 30 to 60 seconds. While you focus on this point, try to clear your mind of any distractions. By concentrating your visual attention on one thing, your mental focus will follow. This technique aligns your cognitive processes and helps you lock in on whatever task you're working on. Visual focus leads to mental focus, making this a simple but powerful tool. Step 3. Leverage the gap effect. This next technique might sound strange, but it's incredibly effective. Doing nothing. That's right. When you're learning something new, take 10-second breaks every once in a while to let your mind wander. Research shows that during these short pauses, your brain replays the information you just learned at a much faster rate than when you're actively studying. This process strengthens your memory and helps you make connections between concepts that you might not have seen during active study time. So, take a few seconds to let your brain breathe. It'll make a big difference in how much you retain.